What's going on, you guys? This is New York Adventurer 1994 here, and today is Saturday, August 19th, 2023, and I have a tropical update to share with you guys. So, we have Hurricane Hilary expected to make landfall in Baja, California, in Southern California, and the impacts are expected to start tonight into tomorrow and into Monday. And this thing was once a Cat 4 hurricane. It rapidly intensified into a Cat 4 hurricane of sustained winds of 145 miles an hour. And keep that in mind that these winds are sustained winds. These are not gusts. The gusts are probably 50 to 20 miles per hour bigger than the sustained winds they're showing. Keep that in mind with a grain of salt. These are not gusts, these are sustained winds. And that probably means the gusts are 50 or 20 miles per hour bigger. So this thing had sustained winds of 145 miles an hour, and it's weakened back down to a Cat 2 hurricane. And this thing is really huge. This thing is expected to make landfall in Baja, California and Southern California. And we now have hurricane warnings in Baja, California, and we have widespread tropical storm watches all the way into Southern California. And let me tell you something about California. This area is not really hurricane ready. They don't really get hurricanes, it's not a thing, and we could be looking at a major disaster when this hurricane comes through. Even if it makes landfall as a tropical storm, we could still be looking at a serious disaster. Because this part of the country doesn't really get hurricanes, it's not really a thing. Hurricanes happen in California once a century, a lot of decades go by and another hurricane makes landfall. This is probably once in a century thing, because this area doesn't really get any hurricanes. A lot of these Pacific hurricanes impact southern Mexico or move out to sea when it comes to the Pacific hurricanes. So, with this thing making landfall in California, we could be looking at a serious disaster, because this type of area doesn't really concern about hurricanes. And earlier we had this thing expanding all the way into Nevada. It showed again, then disappeared. I don't know if they're trying to hide panic or what. Right now this thing gets sustained at 100 miles an hour, and that's the middle of a Cat 2 hurricane. It might make landfall as a high-end Cat 1 or a Cat 2 hurricane. I really don't know. And they're showing that it could make landfall as a tropical storm, probably a high-end tropical storm. But I think they're trying to hide panic or something. I really don't know. It might make landfall as a hurricane still. We're going to have to see what happens. So if you guys are looking to visit California, it might be smart to postpone your vacation until the impacts are finished, or however long it takes, because this is going to be a disaster. California is supposed to look at a lot of heavy rainfall, a lot of high winds, and a lot of flooding. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of flooding. Do you guys remember when that bomb cyclone in October 2021 hit the Bay Area? This thing brought in a lot of heavy rain and high winds to the area, and there was a lot of mudslides and landslides. And there were widespread power outages in that area when it hit back in October 2021. And that bomb cyclone in the Bay Area led to a lot of atmospheric rivers throughout the winter. And it caused more power outages. So, I gotta say something about California's infrastructure with the power. We're gonna be looking at a lot of power outages here. That's definitely on the table. Because California's power is not strong enough to withstand storms like this. They have a long history of not pretty bad power infrastructure. They had a long history of bad infrastructure with their power, that the power always gets cut in that state. And the same goes for Texas too. California and Texas don't really have good power. And there's been times in 2019 where they would shut off the power, which was ridiculous. I really think they need to step in and do something about this power situation. Like, they really need better infrastructure, like, as soon as possible. Because every day I check, there's like over 1,000 power outages. Whether the power's being turned off or there's weather-related events happening over there. It's just really serious. That power grid is like being strained in California. It's like causing all these power outages. So we should be looking at some widespread power outages over there. And I really believe that Disney World and Universal over there are closed due to the hurricane. And there's going to be a lot of flights getting canceled or delayed. It's really insane. This is a very serious situation, guys. This type of area doesn't really get hurricanes. They mostly worry about wildfires or coastal storms like those bomb cyclones I talked about in atmospheric rivers. Those are the type of storms California gets. But this hurricane is expected to bring the same impacts as that October bomb cyclone had in store for the Bay Area, San Francisco. And I gotta tell you, that night, the 49ers were playing in the rain, and a lot of people were getting drenched from that storm. It was a really strong storm. It was like one of the strongest storms to ever impact California. It was wild. I know California really needed the rain that year, but not that much rain. That it had to cause like these mudslides. Yeah, that bomb cyclone was a monster in San Francisco. And we could be looking at the same impacts right here. I think it's going to expand all the way into Idaho or something, or somewhere else. I think it's going to pass Nevada and bring all this precipitation and flooding. I really think they're trying to hide panic for this thing. Yeah, I really don't know what's going on, but if you guys live in this area, you need to be on high alert and finalize your preps like right now before it's too late. This part of the country is not really prepared for hurricanes, so we could be looking at a serious disaster over here. So we have former Cat 4 Hilary expected to make landfall in Baja, California. This thing should make landfall by like tonight or tomorrow. We're gonna have to see what happens, but Hurricane Hilary looks big right now. Look at that huge wind field over Mexico and in the Pacific. We have tropical storm warnings, hurricane watches, and tropical storm watches, like right over here. So yeah, this hurricane season's really ramping up, guys. This is a very serious situation. This is going to be a huge disaster for California, and I expect a lot of people to be in the dark by tomorrow or Monday. California really needs to step in and fix this power situation. They need to do a better job with their infrastructure because I am not liking what I'm seeing right here. Yeah, Pine Power was light. California really needs to do something about this. So, I guess that's it. We have Hurricane Hilary expected to make landfall in Baja, California and Southern California. And this could be historic. This could be a historic disaster event. Because California hasn't really had a hurricane in like years. Because they don't really hit California. A lot of people there don't really concern about hurricanes. They're more worried about wildfires and all that other stuff California puts up with. So I guess that's it. Bye.